Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to start with our new chapter, and the name of the chapter is Metals and Non-Metals. If you remember your previous class, in class 9, you have learned about the elements. How many types of elements are there on earth? How many types? Elements, they can be classified into how many types? They can be classified into 3 categories. And what are they? Metals, non-metals, and metalloids. I hope you have recalled. So how do we keep them in these 3 categories? On some basis, on some particular characteristic features, we classify them in 3 categories. And what are the categories? Metals, non-metals, and metalloids. Now, in today's chapter, we are going to discuss about metals and non-metals. Okay. So before starting or before going to the different characteristic properties of metals and non-metals, let us recall or let us visualize some examples. See, we are always surrounded by metals in almost every aspect of life. Is it or not? So, if I ask you that give some names of metals which are called strategic metals. Strategic. I am saying strategic metals. So, how you are going to tell strategic metals? Which metals are called strategic metals? The metals which are light and durable. Okay, the metals which are light and durable and are used for defense equipments. Light, durable, and used to make defense equipments. Equipments like what kind of equipments in defense we use? Like for making the bomb shells, for making the ammunition, for making guns and bullets, etc. Such type of defense equipments I am talking about. So which metal come in this? Like iron, okay, then titanium, chromium, okay, then manganese, etc. These are some strategic metals. Then if I talk about coinage metals, which metals are called coinage metals? Coinage. Which metals we call coinage metals? The metals which are used for their ornamental value. Used for ornamental value. Okay, they are called coinage metals. So which examples are there for coinage metals? Like gold, silver, copper, okay, gold, silver, copper, okay. Such type of metals are used to make the ornaments, to make the what else? For making coins, etc. So we call them coinage metals. Then comes another metals which are used as catalyst. What are catalysts? These are the metals which are used to enhance the rate of reaction. Okay, means within no time they are going to make it active, activate the reaction very fast. So such type of metals which are used to activate or to enhance the speed of the reaction or rate of reaction, we call them catalyst. Okay, so what are the examples? Like nickel, cobalt, okay, and palladium. So these are the metals that we are talking about, which enhances the rate of reaction. Then some metals are there which are used for fuel. Okay, metals and fuel, how can it be possible? I am talking about radioactive metals. Radioactive metals. Okay, what are radioactive metals? The metals which disintegrate on their own because of their high mass, heavy mass. Okay, so they disintegrate, and when they disintegrate they emit some radiations. Okay, so that like uranium, thorium, plutonium, etc. Okay, then these are basically, we are talking about the metals which are being used for some or the other in our industrial uses are there, or some or the other different, like coinage metal used at homes for making ornaments, for making small statues, idols. Okay, then catalyst, they are being used in the labs or in industries, etc. Then radioactive metals, they are used for generating power in nuclear reactors and all. Okay, so in general, out of all elements, nearly 75% elements are metals. Okay, so how many? 75% of elements are metals. Okay, of all elements. Total elements, out of them 75% are metals. Okay, rest are non-metals and metalloids. So today we are going to study about their basic characteristic features on the basis of physical properties and the chemical properties. So here we begin with the physical properties of metals. See, this chapter is not new to you. You have earlier studied about this in class 8 as well as in 9 also. Okay, but in this chapter we are in class 10th, we are going to study about in detail. Okay, so what are the physical properties? Physical properties of metals. See, when do we say that a substance, an element is a metal? If a metal has if an element has a tendency to lose electron and attain positive charge on it, we call it a metal. Okay, if any element has a tendency to lose electron and attain a positive charge, then we say it is a metal. Okay, so these metals, they show different type of physical properties. And what are the physical properties that we are going to discuss here one by one? Let us begin with the first physical property, that is, they are hard and rigid. Okay, normally metals are hard and rigid. They are not soft. They are very hard. They cannot be cut with knife except one, that is sodium. Exception. Okay, sodium is a metal which can be easily cut with the help of a knife. It can be easily cut with the knife. It's so soft. Rest of the metals, they are very hard and rigid. Okay, so exceptions always you need to remember, because otherwise it will become very difficult for you to get the marks. If you will write that all metals are hard and rigid, so you are going to lose marks. You have to write down the exception, except sodium, like this. Okay, they are so hard and rigid that they can hold large weights without snapping, okay, without breaking. And it requires a lot of mechanical strength. So they are quite hard and rigid, except sodium. The next physical property is a metallic luster. Metallic luster. Luster means shine. The metals, they have a shining surface. Okay, the property of a metal having a shiny surface is called its metallic luster. Okay, now metals, they have a shiny surface when they are freshly cut or they are in pure state. In pure state or freshly cut metal show a shine. Okay, but when they are in nature, then they do not have this luster. Okay, why? Because they are in combined state, maybe that they are corroded, so they do not show any luster. But when they are in pure state or when they are freshly cut, then we can see a shine in them. Okay, so examples are like copper, silver, okay, aluminium, magnesium, etc. Now, next property that we will discuss is melting and boiling point. Melting and boiling point. Okay. Now, metals, they have very high melting point. They have very high melting point and boiling point. Fine. Why it is so? Because of the strong metallic bonds present in the lattice of the metal. So melting point, it becomes very high. If melting point is high, then think about that, how boiling point can be low. It would be more. Okay. So there is again an exception. Okay. At room temperature, liquid is the only substance which has a very less, because of the liquid state, it has a less boiling point. Okay, because it is already existing in liquid state. So another example, let us take gallium. Okay, gallium has very less melting point. If you keep it on your palm, it will start melting. Fine. So, and then the elements like gallium and cesium also. Gallium, cesium, they have very low melting point. Means it can be like 302 Kelvin for gallium and 303 Kelvin for cesium. Means our body temperature is sufficient enough to melt them. So they have very less melting point. Then comes the next property. The property is malleability. What is the property? Malleability. What do you mean by malleability? M-A-L-L-E-A-B-I-L-I-T-Y. Malleability. What is it? Malleability is the property which allows the metals to be hammered or beaten into thin sheets. Okay? Property of metal in which they can be hammered or beaten into thin sheets. Okay. So this property of a metal in which they can be hammered or beaten into thin sheets is called malleability. So aluminium is known to be aluminium, gold, silver. So these are some examples which can be categorized in the most malleable metal. Okay, category of most malleable metal. Okay, so copper is also there. Okay, so like example, you might have seen aluminium. The food is being packed in the sheets, thin sheets of aluminium. So how it could be? It is beaten into thin sheets so that we can get very thin and sheets or foil-like condition. So because of their property of being malleable. Okay, then same way like silver. The silver foil is used to decorate the sweets, etc. Now just imagine that how thin it can be beaten into. Okay, so they are beaten into or they are pressed into very thin sheets so that they can be applied or used as required. Then comes the next property, that is ductility. Ductility. What is this property? It is the property of metals in which the metals can be drawn into thin wires. Okay? Ability of metals to be drawn into thin wires. They can be either drawn or they can be pulled into thin wires, and this property is called ductility. What do we call it? Ductility. So you will be surprised to know that gold is the most ductile metal known. Gold. From 1 gram of gold you can draw 2 kilometer long wire. So most ductile, gold. Okay, 1 gram of gold can be pulled into 2 kilometer wire, 2 kilometer long wire. Okay, copper and aluminium, gold, silver, copper, aluminium, they are supposed to be the most ductile. Okay, this is the reason that we are using copper and aluminium in our household domestic wiring. Okay, electrical wiring. Fine. So iron also, tungsten and magnesium, they all are the ductile elements or metals. The next property is electrical and thermal conductivity. Electrical and thermal conductivity. Electrical and thermal conductivity. What does this mean? Means they can easily allow electricity and heat to pass through them. Okay, metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Okay, means silver, gold, again copper, aluminium, they are used in electric fittings. Why? Because they are very good conductors of the electricity. Same way we are using copper, aluminium in our cooking utensils. Okay, like you have pans made up of, tea pans made up of aluminium, or some utensils, they may be of steel but their bottom is plated with copper. Okay, so what does it mean? That they are good conductor of heat and electricity. Okay, and why it is so? Because they have free electrons. Due to the availability of free electrons in their metal lattice, that's why they can easily conduct through them the electricity as well as the heat. Okay, so because of this they are called as they are kept in the category of electrical and thermal conductivity. Then comes, so this was about the physical properties of the metals. Okay, so you need to keep one thing in your mind while writing the physical properties, that whatever the examples are exception, they are to be mentioned. Okay, if you are not going to mention, then it will become an ambiguous answer and you won't get the full credit in that. Fine. So be appropriate while writing the answer so that the examiner can justify your answer by giving complete marks. Now let us come to the physical properties of non-metals. Physical properties of non-metals. Now, non-metals, they are not hard and rigid. They are brittle. Means they can easily crumble. Okay. Their strength is very less and they are highly brittle in nature. Okay. Means they can easily be break easily on applying force, and this property is known as brittleness. So non-metals are found in solid state and very brittle, just like example of sulfur. Okay, sulfur metal which is non-metal which is quite brittle in nature. Fine. Then if we hammer them, then what will happen? Do you think that they are going to show the properties just like the metals? No, they will not, because of the very weak attractive forces existing between the particles of that element. Okay, so diamond is said to be the hardest, but diamond is not existing in the form of a non-metallic form. It is an allotrope of carbon. Okay, carbon exists in nature in more than one form. Means their physical properties, allotropes are the entities which have different physical properties but same chemical properties. For example, carbon exists in the form of diamond, then it forms in the form of graphite, and one more is fullerene. Okay, and diamond is said to be the hardest substance, one of the hardest substance existing on the earth. So when we are talking about brittleness, we are talking about hardness or hard strength, about the strength of the non-metals. They are normally brittle except diamond, and you will tell over there the allotrope of carbon. Okay, then comes electrical and thermal conductivity. What about the electrical and thermal conductivity? Do you think that they are going to show this nature? See, which elements are known as non-metals, which have the tendency to accept electrons? We call them non-metals. So electrical conductivity and thermal conductivity. If we discuss about this point, then normally non-metals, they do not show. Why? Because of the presence of covalent bonds. And covalent bonds, how they are formed? They are formed by sharing of electrons. So when more than one atom are shared, then we get the covalent bond. Okay. So because of this reason, electrons are not present free in the lattice. As a result, they won't show the conductivity of the electricity as well as heat. But again, there is an exception. Graphite. It is again an allotropic form. Allotropic form of carbon. Okay. This shows the conductivity of heat as well as electricity. Okay. It is said to be thermal conductor as well as electrical conductor. And why it is so? Because single electron per atom is not involved in the bond formation. Okay, one electron is left which is not participating in the formation of the bond. As a result, it is free. So free electrons, what they can do? They can move throughout the lattice of the structure as a result of the crystal, and as a result it can help in showing the conductivity nature as well as the thermal conductivity as well as electrical conductivity. So this is the reason you might have seen that the dry cells that you use, in that the electrode that is used, that black colors rod which is in the center, is made up of graphite. Okay, even the pencils that you have, in that the lead that is present is made up of graphite. As a result, what happens? It can easily conduct the electricity. Fine. So we are talking here about the electrical conductivity. Now what about density? See, metals are highly dense. They are denser than the non-metals. But in case of non-metals, they exist in the molecular form in which various atoms are linked by covalent bond in a single molecule. So due to large molecular size, they are not closely packed as compared to the metals. They are loosely packed because they have very high, very big structure. As a result, they have low densities. Fine. So metals, they have high density because of the packing of the molecules in a very compact manner. So density is low as compared to the metals. Okay. So today we have done about the physical properties of metals and non-metals. So I hope everything is clear to you in your mind. So read the concept and go through it and learn it.